miserable.
Yeah. So FPX have a ton of engage methods. So do BLG. And I have to question who really wins the scaling war. Different path. Might try to create something here.
Yeah, and again, right, we talked about the fact that we're looking at mid lane in particular for FPX to be a bit of a carry force. I think for BLG, that's the same case.
Oh, great patience. On already committed. Jway gets the flash pulverized to put on in his place. And that's first blood going over to Jachi.
Yeah, and just not tracking where the enemy jungler's going to be here. It's On, who is just a little bit too aggressive, costs himself his life, knows that the flashing and healing, not worth it.
Yeah, that's the catch 2020 of playing a control mage. Once you lose that flash, else is on the map. As On and Shadow are going to try and punish Sheer. He still has a flash of his own, but he already used the equalizer to kill the wave. On commits the flash, looks for the stun.
This is
decent
Jway.
damage from Elk, but the TP with Jway will at least provide some assistance here, but he doesn't have a flash of his own, so he might have just teleported into his death, depending on how much damage the rest of BLG can get in reliably. And yeah, that just looked like a freebie going over to BLG.
Yeah, Jway with the highs, Jway with the lows, unfortunately there. That teleport, I think if it was a 2 versus 2, might have been okay, but unfortunately BLG overstacked the numbers. Make it 3, and now they want Sheer as well.
And you know what? Because Jway doesn't wait for the TP, this just ends up being a guaranteed dive play for BLG. Yeah, On goes down, but Sheer's gonna miss out on a big wave.
Yeah.
It's another kill in the hands of Elk and Shadow. BLG just making pretty nice moves on the map.
Take some of the resists, make sure that somebody is a very, very squishy champion and squishy target. As it looks like FPX looking to contest. Remember, no flash on their mid laner, and Knight still with that scoop and flash available.
Yeah, the reprimands of that. Hang on. Might have sent it a little too early. Bin follows up with the call of the Forge God. Great chain of corruptions. They kill off Jway. Looking at IYY next, who is caught in the thick of it. Sheer is looking for a great flank with the equalizer, but the rest of BLG are able to scatter. Care cannot get in range. He still doesn't have a flash, so he cannot get far enough to close the distance. Seismic shove barely misses, and BLG just walk out with all 5 members alive.
The IYY on the minimap, maybe looking to get the most of those. But I'm looking at how well this game's going for BLG to begin with. Again, comparing the fact that FPX are a composition that probably wanted to be winning in this early game. Looking for Elk and Knight in these equalizer situations, as we now see the ramifications of some of those previous ganks into the mid lane. That he was, you know, Care's waiting to flash the shuffle from the Azir, so he doesn't think about flashing the Q from On. And the timing of which On goes in with his Q as we see Knight swoop in. BLG have done so far this game. And with the Rel has a very real opportunity versus triple immobile carries to be a massive threat.
Oh, look at this combo. The pillar guaranteeing the Call of the Forge God connects and just getting melted. Mike, at 13 minutes.
Hey, Sheer, buddy.
I'm not one to...
07.
Yeah. He still has flash. He's got an equalizer. He's going to use it just to kill the wave, because might as well get some CS and gold for yourself before you eventually get wiped off the face of the rift here. And the rest of BLG continuing the snowball as fast as possible.
Yeah, and you know, when we look at the cross map as well, right, like what was happening in the meantime? We've just lost 4 people top lane. Well, because Care got chunked out and because Jiachi got chunked out of the enemy team, like that just shows you how dire straits this game #1 is. And honestly, this is really good, I think, if you're a BLG fan, because this is the type of game that you're expecting to see from them. When we're looking at FPX, this is a team who is going to struggle through the entirety of Group Ascent.
They've done an exceptional job of playing to their strengths on some of the pieces that can make plays early on, as On and Jway are tangoing, fighting around this river brush. Double TP's coming in. Great crash down, intercepting Sheer on the way in, and just as soon as he TP'd in, he just as soon got executed. So now FPX don't have a top laner, and this Rift Herald should be free for BLG.
That TP channel and the time it took for him to get from bot lane into the mid lane was longer than it took for him to die. Like, the time in combat was less than the time spent traveling across Summoner's Rift. He got absolutely melted. And now they'll take the Herald. They're going to look to open up tier 1 turret mid lane with 5 members strong, and the potential use of the Herald as well. They should be able to do this very easily, very quickly. But a final engage from Jway.
I mean, Jway gets dropped pretty darn low. They take out On of the pitcher, but the Call of the Forge God from Bin is great to set up another knockup onto Jway. And look at that shuffle from Knight, scooping up IYY over the other side of the wall. Curtain call from Jachi will try to look for any straggler kills and revenge kills. Last curtain call bullet, not going to be enough to take out Shadow, though. About to come in for Bin as well. So BLG are well ahead of the curve here, and FPX are just scrambling to find any scrap of gold that they can get. Because this is now the point of the game, Rude, where BLG have taken everything from FPX.
You and go, guys, why did we make Baron spawn at 25 minutes? Like we're going to be sat twiddling our thumbs for so long, but IYY maybe caught pillar hits.
Oh boy, I think that pillar caught him as he was trying to EQ out. He goes down easily. Jway trying to set up a re-engage as Sheer flashing forward alongside Jachi. They find a big shutdown onto Elk. Maybe it could be more, but they drop Jway in the end. And now here comes the rest of the BLG carries ready to just pick up the pieces here as Jachi and Sheer managed to find an escape route far away from BLG. But BLG know that they don't need to continue getting kills on FPX members. They need to progress the game, and that's a free turret in the mid lane.
Yeah, I can just see on the minimap as well, Shadow was going on an absolute journey to try and find them and try to interrupt those recalls, you know, with the ease of execution that a Baron gives you. But equally, the way FPX are playing here, they might be looking to find a little pick.
I mean, I like it. When you're down this far ahead in gold, you got to go for these cheese bush plays, and Jway is going to punt Knight right back into Jachi's face. Big shutdown bounty goes over to Kair's pockets, and now BLG, without their main Emperor, he's going to be gone for another 35 seconds. He has teleport, but this could be FPX's window to start the Otacon and just take it without a contest.
They have to start it, but it won't be without a contest.
Oh, another pick on it. Is that Shadow?
Shadow's down.
Oh my god, that's big! FPX! They took out the jungler. Now there's no smite available unless On can swap to a spellbook smite. But remember, this is a weaker version, so it's going to be harder to pull off. IYY sends it. Cataclysm flash out to make sure that L can't go anywhere. FPX are turning it around. On and Bin have to salvage the fight here. On finds one on the Sheer, flashing forward before Kair. He's down below 200 HP. Bin, it's got to be
in. Here comes Knight.
Here comes Knight. They stalled out the fight long enough. Can the Emperor, the golden left hand, turn it around and save BLG's game from
CC?
He gets blown up! FPX are surviving and salvaging what should have been a done and dusted game and have closed the gold lead.
With that seismic shove, and now they're fighting on live as well.
Oh my god, they picked off Shadow again, Rude! FPX, they're pulling off miracles. Because the prime of this composition has kind of passed that mid-game point, but IYY is going to send it anyway with Kair. They're going to look for anything that they can get. The seismic shove still clips Elk, doesn't take him out completely. Kair was forced to flash. Jway following up now, but here comes Bin with the call of the Forge God right on top. Equalizer trying to add into the hot pot. Knight trying to decide whether he wants to fight this one or not. Kair surrounded now by Bin and Shadows. He's going to get chomped and bitten down to pieces. Now FPX are on the retreat. They've lost their mid laners all down to protecting Jachi on the way out. Knight trying to pursue him with the Sand Soldier, slowing him down. They've done away with the front line, and Jachi's got nowhere else to go. And BLG got a little bit messy a couple minutes ago, but they cleaned up the fight. They get the ace on the FPX, and they can now break open the base.
Yeah, look at how many people they lost as well, Rafa. Absolutely nobody. It's a clean ace, a swift one at that. And, you know, we had a little bit of a mess around the Atacon. Knight gets caught, and we give FPX a little bit of hope. But as soon as we reset, get 5 people back out on the map, BLG, with this better team fighting composition, are able to punish the overextension from FPX. Elk finally had his flashback up and finally was able to get out of a Cataclysm and baited in Kair, baited in IYY.
On how they're going to be creative and think of ways to come back in this game.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a really good exercise for both teams, I feel like, right? With FPX, they had an opportunity to potentially come back into this game, and with the Vision Observer toggling here, that there is just no way in for FPX. Jachi likely to use the curtain call to find a way in for IYY.
Decent pick onto Knight, but he slides right back into the safety of the Baron pit. IYY's in there, but
Not
Shadow
quite.
secures the Baron. Curtain call bullets are flying, trying to get some decent damage into the members of BLG. On goes down, thanks to Jway, but traded immediately back on the Sheer and Jway himself. Shadow picks up the double, and now they are on the hunt, pursuing Jachi. The pillar forces him to flash. The Weaver's Wall will cut off some of the escape routes of BLG as they were trying to lock down remaining carries of FPX, but Shadow is cruising and styling. He's astro gliding on his former teammates in FPX, as he doesn't give a damn about which turret he crosses. He is ensuring that Kair will fall, and BLG will now have the victory march to end game 1.
Yeah, and for Shadow as well, what a game number 1 up against your old team, right? This is a team that he's expected to come away out on strong terms with, but 10, 2, and 9 on the Trundle, the most kills on his team, just taking his former teammates to the slaughter.
I was ready for BLG to end the game right then and there, but you know what? Take your bases, get even more items and gold purchase for yourself. Jway trying to look for a potential engage under the safety of this turret before it does eventually fall, but IYY did take a lot of poke damage from the members of BLG, and now
engage tools that FPX have drafted to try and find you a fight.
Well, they're going to find a fight, but not on their own terms here, Rude. IYY sends it for the Cataclysm just to get blown up. Sheer falls next. Curtain call in the face of Shadow as he gets flung back with the seismic shove. Almost brings him down, but not enough to make it another death and kill for the side of FPX. Knight was trying to slide on in to see if he could catch Jauchi. Maybe a little too close. The Weaver's Wall will cut him off. But Bin is so tanky that he is not going to care at all. And now the rest of BLG should be able to make short work of these Nexus towers. The teleport coming in for another reinforcement wave of BLG's mid laner as he swoops on in. The Emperor's Divide into Flash will put an end to FPX. And that is game 1 in the books. BLG lead the series.
But the thing is that if they ever fall behind, doing that is going to cost them dearly, because they're going to have to engage into the 6-man roster of BLG plus Tibbers. Where, okay, I know I've got mid prio, I've got top prio as well, but if neither of those two lanes end up coming to help you, what's the point?
Oh, and nicely done by Bin with the E flash punch shear right back into Shadow's waning arms. He doesn't even need to use flash. It is first blood for BLG.
Sheer.
Sure.
The main part of this is actually that the Kaiser is beginning to get solo XP and is going to be very accelerated on that experience game, whereas Sheer, who's just hopped forward, no W now.
And still no flash available. Shadow can easily jump on top of him. IYY's here for the counter gank, but it just might be a little too late. Yes, they could maybe trade one back onto On as it comes at the cost of IYY's flash, but Shadow is still so strong in the early game against the Wukong. No Cyclone available, no CC, and Shadow and L can easily just gun him down. Jway will be able to make an escape with that dredge line, but still overall victory for BLG.
Up to this top side.
Oh, they're calling it
BLG
off.
looking to freeze that top wave. It does look like you've mentioned here that the play for the Grub's not necessarily an important one. They were quite happy to deny Jauchi as much gold as possible. And that is something that they've been successful in. I will say there was, like I said, that frozen wave on that top side. Now a wave that's been denied under that turret while Jauchi goes to look for helping those Grubs.
He'll set up for BLG.
Yeah, you get stunned and knocked up at the same time with this Brahms and Zao combo. Hold on.
Turning it back around on a Knight. Nicely done by Care. Okay. Let's go!
Well, that previously might have been a little bit lacking. So far, their composition is all about dive, and I mean, I'm looking at the gold disadvantage that they're falling behind, and that they're going to have to try and do that versus a Braum, and that really does fill me with a little bit of anxiety for this FPX composition.
Available at BLG's disposal, and he just needs that extra bit of tenacity as well as magic resistance for the burst damage. Sheer, though, might be in a world of trouble here as a 3-man dive is incoming.
Clear the wave!
He uses
Clear the wave!
to clear the wave, but BLG are going to continue to dive anyway, and Knight can easily tank it up with the tower and Tibbers, and BLG pull off another kill onto Sheer.
Yeah, and this is the sort of 4th or 5th time in this series that they've been able to find Sheer isolated and sideways.
Oh no!
Oh dear, 1 Q and dead. Okay, I mean, that's the power of Lucian Braum right there, and I love to see that Elka and On were actually willing to go for that. Jauchi really recognizing the burst potential of an, at the time, 2-0 Lucian.
Well, BLG, they didn't get the first 3 grubs, but they didn't even need the first 3 grubs to secure the first brick of the game. And they already got the feats of warfare with the first 3 kills.
There's a pink ward in the red buff bush that will spot him out if he steps too far forward.
He's just going to hop over the Rift Herald pit, trying to see if he can threaten Shadow that way. But Jway got caught by On's Braum. The Rift Herald is secured by Pear, out of all people. And he's going to get out thanks to the Between Worlds hop. I guess no one in the end is going to be able to take the eye from the Rift Herald, but at least it's a denial away from BLG.
Yeah, now there may be more though here after. You can see Care sneaks in, takes the eye, but BLG, they're taking the blue and they want more.
Care doesn't really have any more big spells left. He's just going to go for a full burst combo, but jumping into the face of all 3 BLG members might have been a little ill-fated, and Care will toss his advantage away, trying to create something for the rest of FPX members, but IYY can't really get in there, forced to use the Cyclone just as a retreat method, and he dies anyway to Elk on the escape route, just getting gunned down in the streets, and Elk just really showing the power of dual blickies there.
Just immediately respond to the Aurora by flashing on top of her. Flash from Shadow for the knockup, On as well. It's easier for them to pick up for themselves, and in this stage of the game. BLG just need to find whatever gold they can, continue to build out that gold lead, and then attempt to push that advantage even more. Care, potentially the focus down on this bot side. We're seeing IYY look to make a sneaky play down in the bot lane.
Versus in FPX's jungle.
And this is just a really clinical way of getting yourself a bigger advantage, right? Like what we talk about so frequently is what happens when the turrets go down. It's you take the enemy jungle, and looks like Dwayne may be even one of those camps.
I mean, good depth charge into the Cyclone, but instantly punted away by the Crescent Guard. Can Care find a good flank here? None of the members that are important and vital to BLG have been damaged, and Elk with the calling just pushes them all back. So can Care really look for something? And he says, yeah, this is not happening. And no!
Oh!
And then you wave, and anti-stun puts a stop to his
TP.
escape tracks. He's going to try to look for the TP, but Ben just bashes him over the head.
Jauchi underneath this tier 2 turret. I don't know that he knows that there are so many people lurking trying to make him regret being here.
Oh, good side step.
Flash.
Did you really want to throw out the question mark emote? Well, I guess it comes at the cost of his flash. BLG are just running away with the game again here, Rude. And I don't know if we're going to see a mishap happen again.
Again, having a very solid performance in a series that maybe is more expected, but one that BLG can take home and be very confident in that they are making better choices.
And I remember all of the pre-AL BLG series, and this should be the Otacon secured for free by BLG.
And I will say, looking back at FPX with Shadow, some of the wins that they got in split number 2, they take a series off of AL, they took a series off of BLG. When teams play top and see how well that ends up boding for them, because that tends to be the regular season litmus test as to whether or not you are a top team or just having a little bit of a struggle. As now IYY deciding he wants to fight, actually. Gets exhausted.
IYY might have thought that they had the numbers advantage since it's all 5 members here and only 2 showing. Shadow might be caught out. Crescent Guard delays the fight a little bit. Care gets a big shutdown bounty, and Between Worlds will at least end On's life. Ben now under fire as Jauchi goes for the chase with the killer instinct, but here comes Elk. That's the big daddy in Lucian. Now with the dual blick, he's looking to gun him down with the calling. Pew, 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 goes down 2 in an instant. BLG will continue to assert their dominance in this game, as now Care will throw out a couple emotes as a plea for maybe some mercy, but there is no mercy in this dojo in the house of BLG.
There's a couple of issues for Elk there, ready to rescue this. Going to have any of those game 1 blunders reappear in game number 2 as now Dre potentially just dead.
Yeah, he's gonna spider knot his way away.
Oh, and another one.
But
a donation.
Oh no, the teleport coming in. I mean, IYY is here, but does he really want to try and salvage here? He just died again. It's like game 1 when he teleported in with the rumble, and as soon as he popped in, he's like, it just gets deleted off the face of the rift, and BLG are gonna be very, very grateful.
This build for the Lucian, trying to take down the Baron, has now been maybe the focus.
Then maybe the sacrificial lamb here does flash over the wall. Jauchi commits with the killer instinct.
One more
auto attack. It's the flash. It's an 1100 gold bounty, but Knight with the flash W. There, he lands it this time. And now Jauchi throwing up the question mark emote once again. This time he should be able to make his grand escape. No flash available, no problem. The rest of BLG do not have what it takes as On gets sucked in. Okay, guys, we gotta be careful here. Thankfully, the unbreakable shield is just BS. And Cubby, that is why Braum is getting his armor nerfed again.
Doing it at a pace that is methodical and that makes sense. As FPX look to get into the pit, the Drake's already gone. And I think that wisely they recognize, well, we'll not...
flank here on the right side, gets spotted by that control ward, and they're already trying to turn the heat up on the IYY. They dropped away in an instant. Elk, I think, just did it all by himself. And yeah, good night, Care. Gets deleted from the Rift, and FPX now down to 3 members once again to try and make the impossible happen, which... more than likely, not going to be the case here. BLG just going to continue trucking on forward, taking out this inhibitor on the bottom side of the map. And look at the unbreakable shield, so much value. No damage coming in from FPX whatsoever.
One inhibitor down in the bot side. Final fight from FPX.
Flash Cyclone. Okay, Elk is eviscerated by Sheer with the needlework and the snip, 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 but still BLG remains strong with the remaining 4 members. And just like that, as we predicted, we thought it was going to be very dominant coming out for BLG, and the story did unfold just like that. BLG will sweep FPX 2-0.
Yeah, and honestly, a series...
Sivir for Light. They want to really accelerate and help further facilitate the ability for Weibo to just brute force and storm on in through AL's defenses.
DPS threats, and I do value that as the game goes later, the Scion and the Trundle will begin to be able to just get churned through.
Speaking of the Scion, could be in trouble as Breathe already used the public execution to snack Flandra out of the decimating smash, but Tarzan might have arrived a little too late. He does have to watch his top laner fall, but should be able to at least clean back one onto Breathe as Flandra's trying to beat him down.
It's so close!
Passive. Great flash from Tarzan! Drops the aggro and takes a double kill for himself.
And I think that's something we've seen from the LPL as well, and maybe a lot of things internationally. Flandra's actually in trouble.
We know that he doesn't have flash, so the seismic shove. Oh, nice buffer by the unstoppable onslaught to not get flicked by the combo. Okay, Flandra, I see you.
Yeah, it's great timing. It does mean that he burns his ulti once again, and I think that fortunately there's no real contest for neutral objectives, so not having an ult, not particularly going to be a problem for him, just means that he's got to play a little bit safer now for ult, and hopefully those trades will end up being, beneficial for Weibo in those situations. But let's see, Chris.
Oh no! And look at that! The Poppy Trundle Pillar combo worked so beautifully. Chris cannot even escape, even with the power of that unbreakable will damage reduction on top of it.
Poppy Trundle combo. I mean, one of the benefits that AL were leveraging so frequently in Split 2 was their synergy between Tarzan and Kael, and the link-ups they were able to find.
Yes, Weibo on this Rift Herald, they're just going to use the power of those 3 grubs they got earlier and look for the first brick of the game right on this bottom side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, this is gone, right? Like, this is Trundle trying to take turrets. Does it very easily. This is also looking at the power of 3 grubs plus a Trinity Force. They're absolutely fine to try and take this trade. Now, Rift Herald is probably going to get summoned, but they're looking to collapse here.
He's sending it. He knows that Weibo were trying to get a turret back in the mid lane. Great unstoppable onslaught right onto Light. Able to distance himself away, but here comes the rest of the onslaught.
Triple shove.
Weibo, big seismic shove, but Keeper's Verdict winds up and punts away one member. Shockwave is flashed by Breathe, but Tien is left isolated. And that means anyone's legend gets their kill that they were looking for and completely neutralizes the Rift Herald play. Shred through the armor until they get to those Black Cleaver power spikes as Light might be in trouble here. No flash from the prior fight. Hope just annihilated him.
On his way back, so Light getting picked out there. A pretty uncharacteristic death, but one that he cannot afford all the while. Crisp now forced to ult.
Seismic shove on the Tarzan, but he's so damn tanky thanks to the use of the subjugate, and the Great Pillar forces Tien to be in a bad spot and gets chomped down to bits. Xiaohu almost at 50% HP.
But it's by Hope, who's going crazy with the Corki. He's just Wing forward into the face of Talia, into the face of Sivir, into the face of his Xin Zhao, dashing into the Crescent Guard so that he can do as much damage as possible.
What once was just 2,000, 3,000, now effectively a 4,000 gold lead, and they're looking for more. Breathe, using public execution to reposition so he can get into the tri-bush. The pillar's not as deceptive as it could have been, but Breathe's still gonna get run down anyway because Tarzan is just too damn fast.
Honest, I'm Breathe, Tien, or Light looking at this, I'm like, oh, Trundle's built butter for me, but he still just kills me. What's happening?
And they get the wall slam right on top of Tien, so now there's no smite contest coming in anytime soon from Weibo Gaming unless Chris can swap to it with his unsealed spellbook, but it's going to be a tough task to be able to pull off, and Weibo, down in man, have no means necessary to be able to really steal this Otacon away from anyone's legend, so this objective, once again...
So he's going to be able to take the tier 1 turret on that top side and get a little bit of gold back for himself, but again, we look at this in the grand scheme of things, this is a very thin silver lining across an absolute storm of clouds that are hanging overhead for Weibo. Down 4,000 gold, tier 1 turrets falling on side lanes, now collapsing in mid lane as well. When your Sivir can't wave clear again, just speaks to the pretty shocking state of affairs that you're currently finding yourself in.
I think Jackie Love best demonstrated in one of the top esports games. Might be a potential pickoff here for Weibo as Breathe already jumps onto Flandra with that public execution. Xiaohu will gonna try to stop him, but Flandra picks a nice angle for the unstoppable onslaught, and he's just gonna send it into the base. And all right, well, I guess we'll give the kill over to Light potentially here. Flandra is just gonna try and stall for as much time as possible. And you know what? He's doing a pretty darn good job of doing that, because the rest of anyone's legend is pushing up waves on the top side. They're taking a turret in the mid lane, or at least prepping for it.
Tien, you need to help this guy.
Minion wave, and he's getting another minion wave too. Flandra is so goated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that he had to resign himself to death there. I think that he could have maybe tried to run, get a little bit of help from his team, and now AL maybe in a little bit of trouble with the Weaver's Wall.
Okay, Tarzan forced to flash over that one. Doesn't want to drop the shutdown bounty. Kyle might be in a sticky situation as well. Already used the Keeper's Verdict. They've got a blast cone. 30 seconds away from this Baron spawning Rude. I imagine if AL just want to continue making this game very fast-paced, they can just easily start it right on spawn. They have a window where there'll still be another minute before the dragon spawns. Tarzan might be caught out here. Remember, he already used flash for the other Weaver's Wall pickoff, and this could be really big. Unstoppable onslaught from Flandre tries to stall the fight as long as possible. It's a big shutdown and goes into the pockets of Light. Shanks trying to flank with this shockwave. Still hasn't pulled the trigger quite yet. Kyle gets dropped by Tien. Weibo trying to pull a miracle. The shockwave only catches one on the Xiaohu, but doesn't drop him. And Hope cannot get into this fight. He's trying to play around Shanks' range, but the rest of Weibo Gaming are playing with absolute fire. But Hope blows up. Crisp, and now looking to turn tail onto Xiaohu. Everyone is so low. Hope has to go forward, but he's baited in by Weibo.
He's doing it.
Breathe, and he drops Light as well. Xiaohu, the only survivor, but anyone's Legends star 80 carry.
200 HP here this entire fight. Does he recall? No. He knows he's safe, so he's able to just sit back, provide that little bit of support, use the ball from the Orianna, and keep everybody alive.
The evolution of Hope over the course of this 2025 season has been one of the greatest joys of becoming anyone's legend.
EDG, because they could get pays. He was a player that got replaced by Ruler as well at a certain point in his career. Like, he was an AD carry who was always incredibly well sought after, but just not that top tier. And now Weibo, though, they're looking to fight once again.
Kyle winding up the hammer for the Keeper's Verdict, punts away one as they slam Tien into the wall. The Crescent Guard not going to be able to block as much damage because they're all right on top of him. Breathe rejoins the fight. Chris trying to do as much as he can, but the Shockwave is great. It catches Light and Crisp in the folly. And Weibo are now running for their lives. Xiaohu tries to distance himself away with the Weaver's Wall and trying to kite as he throws rock after rock, but those rocks ain't doing shit as anyone's legend wipe the floor with Weibo Gaming, and they push in for the base win.
Clean ace. Game number 1 goes to AL. Weibo tried as they might. They fought back in this game, but they weren't able to do the work. A great Keeper's Verdict from Kyle, and now they'll do the victory march.
AL had a lot to say after their loss against BLG last night, and the way they are stomping Weibo in this first game leaves a lot for promising in the series to come. AL lead the series 1-0.
Big work when it comes to taking these defenses out of Weibo's pocket.
Yeah, and while Jin unfortunately is very susceptible to getting dove in by both
sides, ulti mid, traded. So to continue the point that whenever we're seeing Hope hold that 4th shot, that's when Kyle walks forward and threatens. Always looking for these short order trades, and now Kyle's here.
Immediate flash W right on top of Tien. The Q flash follow up from Kyle, and Tien doesn't have level 6 yet. He tries to flash away, goes back in with the ball breaker, using the strength of Breathe and Chris to try and turn this fight around. And unfortunately for AL, they thought they had the big pick, but they just overplayed their hand, and it's first blood for Weibo.
Yeah, and now, you know, a little bit of trouble here for Hope. His level 6 on Light means he's probably going to go jumping in.
Yeah, Hope has barrier and flash, but Light will commit both summoner spells. Oh!
Takes him down.
No. And now Shanks might be in trouble as well. No Fate Seal. He's forced to flash over the wall as well. And
thought he got one more auto attack still left in him. Now Breathe finding a great trade down on this bot side as Flandre able to navigate his way out to safety for now, but Tien is lurking.
No.
Cease and desist available. Good night, brother Flandre.
Incoming. Ball breaker will connect, and they know that Flandre doesn't have flash from the prior gank set up just a few minutes before on that top side. And Flandre will once again try and run Tien around, stalling as much time as he can, but eventually it does guarantee the feats of warfare secured for Weibo Gaming.
That pretty darn quickly. Taking that Executioner's Calling early on for the Yorick as well, so that he can try and alleviate some of the sustained concerns of a Cho'Gath, as Crisp is absolutely fine on this Rakan, should just be able to hop out over the wall with Battle Dance to Xiaohu, but the 3 grubs are secured by AL.
Fate sealed. It is interrupted by Tien on the other side, so now Shanks has to wind up that third Q so that he can get over the wall, but he commits for the kill onto Tien, but the Emperor's Divide pushes them and pins them against the wall. Curtain call from Hope, trying to find some bullets here for some damage. Kyle doing as much work as he can, but he is just a support. It's up to Hope to try and clean up any stragglers here. The Deadly Flourish does not find Xiaohu on the exit path.
Weibo secure this off of those first breakpoints being collected a little bit earlier on.
Yep. And that could be the difference maker in delaying AL from an early Drake stacking win condition of trying to accelerate the game, or at least put a clock on Weibo's backs. Guaranteed kill, which is why Shanks is forced off the turret.
Yeah, and Tarzan here, just all the while, clearing his bot side camps, recalling here, not really having any impact on what's going on this top side, not making a play on the bot side either, so really good to see that Tien was able to step in, and it was a 5-1 lead, 2k gold lead, and now they're looking to set up around this Rift Herald.
Flandra has teleported, so they want to contest. Kyle forced to crash down away from danger. 4,000 HP on the Rift Herald. Tarzan is about to step up. You got to be careful when contesting a Maokai, because that Bramble Smash plus
now they're pinned.
And
now they're pinned.
The Cho'Gath Feast. That's a Rift Herald guaranteed. Kyle trying to catch Xiaohu. He flashes away. Chris with the quickness doesn't really grab anyone. Tien forced with the cease and desist as Hope is now pinned into the pit. Tarzan is taken out by the rest of Weibo Gaming members. Now it's just going to be everyone trying to flash over the wall, or for Shank's case trying to Q3, but he gets bursted and deleted by Xiaohu on the Azir.
Yeah, it's such a good absorption by Weibo. They just detract. They allow AL to go into the pit if they can. The Kai'Sa, so frequently dependent on having that tier 1 turret available, but not sure that they're going to be able to take this as easily as they think. The Herald does charge, but the Dragon going down, they know that their time in the mid lane is not free for much longer. Tier 1 turret in bot lane, but 5 members of AL are strong here.
Yeah, Tarzan threw out the ultimate, just trying to control the defense of this turret, but
Kyle's
Kyle gets
dead.
snagged by the quickness. Flandra eats Chris for breakfast, and now the rest of AL have got to run. Here comes Xiaohu, who's going to look for the Emperor's Divide angle. Tarzan tries to step up and slow him in his tracks, but he's just autoing with the Sand Soldiers. He doesn't even need to swoop in with the Emperor's Divide. Flandra gets picked off here by the Dark Procession. A good knockup with the Rupture only just delays the inevitable, and Weibo Gaming continuing to run the show.
Yeah, 3 for 2 here, but it's the way that the wave is set and the way that that fight looks that means that AL are very strong, and another late flash.
Are heavily disrespecting Weibo in a lot of these situations. Hope, he's just going to get soloed by Light. The Baron comes out, but one more auto attack. That's the power of the Kraken Slayer Kai'Sa.
Guys, Game 1 AL is looking good. Game 2 AL, we have different stories. We have different answers for you, okay? It is 12-3. They are 19 minutes into this game and they're down 5, looking at 6k gold in not too long a time.
Weibo are enjoying the fruits of their labor, being able to contest and get the better of AL in a lot of these early skirmish scenarios. Attempted Deadly Flourish does not find the Lucky Steal. Weibo securing the Otacon, now mostly with their carries on 2 items, as Chris is going to send it, charming up Tarzan with the quickness. Shanks trying to flip the heads. Okay, wait, Tien just got bursted. 5-on-4 now in favor of AL. This could be bad. Light caught up by the Magnet Storm, trying to use the Killer Instinct to reposition. He does escape, but now the target is Breathe. He's in trouble, and he gets bursted and feasted upon by Flandra's Cho'Gath. Good Rupture.
Double knock up.
The Q to knock up the bounce house. It's so massive. Xiaohu tries to bounce Tarzan right back into his tower, but Weibo still relying on the hopes of their mid laner Tiger trying to survive, and at least he takes out Tarzan without dropping. But that is a sign of hope for AL in this game too.
And completely against the run of play off, and they just turn a fight on its head. Well, right here, AL perform once again.
Flandra might be caught out here. No flash available. The Emperor's Divide will push him back into the waiting arms of Tien. And no one is coming from the side of anyone's legend anytime soon, so Flandra will eventually go down. But to comment on that fight, this is something that we have seen Weibo done this very split. Oh, Hope might be in trouble now, but Kyle is here for reinforcements. Q into the Deadly Flourish, stuns him up. Hope trying to kite this one out. Shanks TP's right on top of it. Light just sent a solo mission just to die and hand another kill over to anyone's legend's hands. Xiaohu's going to try to push on the top side of the map for a tier 2 turret, but that gives the Dragon over to AL.
And this is one of the concerns, the problems that Light has had on this Kai'Sa, trying to take the game into his hands just a little too liberally. Didn't have the vision, didn't have the knowledge as Tien goes in.
No! Okay, cease and desist, but he's gonna die for this one, and not even getting a chance to get an exchange kill onto Hope.
Even then, not really the case, as now Breathe getting zoned away from this turret. AL are going to take this one as Flandre. Has he gone too close?
Man.
Nope, he's absolutely fine. Massive tank, do not fear, everybody. Ward, so they're going to know that something is potentially awry here. And they'll make their way in.
Okay, Crisp and Tien link up.
Goodbye.
Nicely done.
Goodbye.
They pop Tarzan. No smite contest available unless Flandre can flash in and feast and steal the Baron. That would be a pretty...
KL has Spellbook as well, so he's gone for the smite currently. Just waiting to hover.
Another grand entrance, this time on the Flandre. Dark Procession locks him down. A lot of damage coming out from the members of Weibo, forcing the flash out of Flandre. No teleport available, so Flandre's going to have to heal up somewhere if they still want to contest for this Baron.
So it's all about just keeping Weibo off of the Baron. The longer they can keep them off of it, the longer they can stall for Tarzan's respawn and hopefully get a bit of a steal to come through as well. But it's getting melted. It's Kai'Sa Azir. They have no way in.
4,000 weight. Flandre's about to just walk up and down smash the Magnus Storm. Flandre, okay, it is secured by Breathe out of all players, but Hope just takes out Tien. Light is on the retreat. Shanks finally goes back with the Soul Unbound, as a Void Seeker will tag Hope. Not dashing in for the Killer Instinct, he's already used it.
Themselves.
You can at least use the Baron to guarantee push in all these waves neighboring the Dragon so that they can put themselves on Soul Point, but the thing that I'm still concerned about is if Weibo don't find maybe a miracle fight here to just force the game, Shanks is about to back with an Infinity Edge power spike in his back pocket. He's going to play for this wave, going to try to play for that turret to guarantee it when they dropped those random kills in the mid-game to try and just make it irrecoverable for AL.
Okay, so they do manage to break open the base, but they're fighting mid lane as a little bit of a bait here. They're trying to take down the turret, and they lose the inhibitor in the bot side. They're going to lose out on the turret in the mid lane as well. And the poke from the Kai'Sa are going to begin to start coming through with these Void Seekers. Xiaohu, once again, I want to highlight the mid lane dominance.
He goes golden. He was caught by the Deadly Flourish. The Rupture forces the flash out of him. Shanks sends it with a Fate Seal. It has to immediately retreat back. He is caught. Xiaohu punishes, and AR now on the retreat. They have to believe in the power of Hope and Flandre and Tarzan, but Flandre drops. It's now just down to Tarzan. Xiaohu sends it! The Summer Tiger will sink his fangs into anyone's Legend's last hope, and Weibo are going to bring us to Game 3 in the series.
7-0 and 9. Xiaohu with a mammoth performance from start to finish. Force us to Game 3. Yeah, absolutely. And it's the same to be said as well for Shanks, as you know, he's going to be struggling out in that side lane versus the Victor if the Nocturne does come down. And
some pseudo-sustain by expending more and more spells. Meanwhile, Kyle noticing that, hey, Weibo is trying to sneak an early Dragon. They drop a ward on top of it. And Xiaohu now forced to pop the Chaos Storm just so that he can fight back in terms of priority in this wave, despite being down a lot of HP to Shanks. But he knows that Shanks can't really offer much since he's already sold the ultimate. Whoa, Kyle was trying to yoink away that Dragon since he had the Spellbook Smite, but it's not successful, and it's first blood for Weibo. And now look for the grub. Xiaohu gonna try to walk over to contest, but Tien's over on the other side of the map. So this should be the majority of this objective going over to the hands of AL, but teleport is coming in. Breathe is trying to pressure. 500 HP on the first grub. It is secured by AL, but now Tien's here. There is no ward that can see it since it is blocked out by the control, or the control ward, and anyone's Legend will secure all 3 grubs.
Yoinkies! Thank you very much. That's all 3 for AL. Need to be played a lot smoother than they did in game number 2, because they should struggle as the game gets later.
Uh-oh, Shanks in trouble. Tien already benefiting off of the Xiaohu chunk onto Shanks, and that is just an easy 2v1 gank setup. It says, okay, buddy, nice try.
So I counted. Flandre dodged 3 out of 4 Qs there. So you'll notice that there wasn't a second knock-up that came through from Breathe, and that's because he literally only hit 1 Q when he went all out. So it was really good play by Flandre. He knows that with the Swifty Boots, he's able to dodge away. Haven't really materialized into too much more. Of course, he did get a relatively early Rod of Ages for the marker just a little bit sooner, but a TP coming through from that bot side. Breathe wants to make his presence felt. Has that finished IBG, and we know that the Smolder doesn't have Shojin finished just yet, so Weibo, they start the Herald now and expect that teleport to come through once Flandre has finished his recall.
Okay, this isn't a 225 Smolder, but he can stack up a lot in this fight if they play it out well. 4,000 HP for Tien on the Rift Herald. Tempered Fate onto Crisp. 2,000 HP on the Rift Herald. Here comes Mom, but it's blocked by Crisp. And Rift Herald is secured by Tien. They get the Rift Herald Eye, but now Weibo Gaming has to be careful because they're all backed up into the pit. But Tien is looking for hope on the Lucian, the barrier, but the Fear Tether allows Tien to close the distance and take out the Lucian from this fight. Now everyone from Anyone's Legend has to retreat. Tarzan over the wall with the EQ swag flag, but Flandra still alive, trying to continue building up these stacks on the Smolder.
Where to go, how to play that fight out, and it gives Weibo another big advantage.
Tarzan is sitting in the bush. I don't know if he's been detected or not. Kyle has the magical journey, but now it takes him to where Tarzan is lying in wait. They drop the ward in, and now Tarzan's position has been compromised. He is forced to use the EQ over the wall. Kyle flashes out. Tarzan trying to still see if he can get in range and force a steal on this dragon, but it's secured by Tien. Shanks on the flank path, drops the Chaos Storm, but the Paranoia separates them once again. Cataclysm trying to force something onto Chris. Breathe brings Tarzan right back with the all-out. Light goes in with the Arcane Shift, firing Mystic shots one after another, but they take down Breathe. Shanks going for the re-engage. That's going to abduct as Flandra flashes in. The tether for the Fear, but he pops Crisp in the backline, and Tien is isolated. They take out Kale, but Tarzan is still making sure that Weibo Gaming cannot pick up any more kills in the back half. But good use of the Tempered Fate by Kyle to make sure that the Rift Herald does not get an effective charge. Tarzan maybe caught out of position, still has the EQ as he is feared by Tien, but they are looking for the chase. Xiaohu doesn't have a flash. Easy Cataclysm set up. They're all sitting ducks, and Flandra can just shoot them all down like fish in a barrel. Weibo Gaming drop 2 in exchange for Tarzan. Dragon is slowly starting to drop as Tien is now trying to force the issue, pushing in the mid wave.
Yeah, spotted on the wave, but he has ulti to get here if he needs to.
Oh, Tarzan got way too close. He's dropped immediately by Xiaohu, but the Culling is doing a lot of work, and you see that the execute is threatening them, but this could be enough for Tien to turn it around. He forces way too deep. He flashes back to safety. The Ocean Soul should be secured for Weibo. No contest available from Anyone's Legend. So crucial that Weibo dropped Tarzan before the dragon was even close to smite range. Spawn. A lot of poke is coming out of Weibo. And as we said before, Root, because Ocean Soul does favor extended fights, it's so nice for Weibo that there's not a lot of strong bursts that can just one-shot these members from Weibo with impunity. It is extended trades, but that just plays into the strength of Ocean Soul.
And how do AL ever get on top of an Ezreal in particular? I think the Light as well can have a big game.
Oh, Cataclysm, but the Tempered Fate is going to stall that fight for a little bit longer. Tien pops the Paranoia. Maybe they can turn their focus onto the Nocturne itself. Kyle in the middle of nowhere, but Flandra pops the first one onto Chris, but it is dropped over to Kyle as well. 4v4. Our Tarzan sends it into the backline with the EQ. Flandra, can he cook with this Smolder? He's getting them critically low. Will the execute come through? Breathe is still staying alive. The power of the Ocean Soul is sustaining them well. Flandra now in the middle of 1v4. Shanks trying to bail him out with the slow of the Q. They find Xiaohu, but now Flandra is pinned. Breathe takes them all out over the other side of the wall, and the baby dragon is destroyed. Hope, the last one standing under the tower, immediately done away by Weibo, and now they can take their prize in the Otacon.
Never has there been a better example of why Souls win games. Weibo took so much damage during that fight, but they just sustained it all up. The Ocean Soul was working overtime for them. The fight took about 30 seconds from start to finish. Constant procs of the Ocean Soul, and now the Atacon will be their prize.
Good smite by Tien to negate some of the early crit damage, which I take that back. Not really any crit damage on some of the marksmen here from Weibo Gaming as... Oh no! Tarzan just gets blown up! Weibo now have a man advantage, 5-4.
Jungler, any contest here is just so difficult, and it's just not possible. Spellbook Smite may be there, but Kyle finds 2 with a Tempered Fate. Xiaohu zoning with a Chaos Storm.
Mom comes through, and it feels like it just tickles Xiaohu. The Chaos Storm trying to bring them lower and lower, but it's not going to be the case. Tien sends it with the Paranoia deep into Shanks and Flandra, trying to kite their way out to victory here, but Shanks forced to flash away. He's on the retreat path. Tarzan comes back up, but the All-Out will bring Kyle into the waiting arms of Weibo Gaming, completely isolated
for Weibo in this third game is so much higher for AL. They are just so freely able to walk through this jungle. And even though this Unbreakable's up, I think that Crisp with an Ocean Soul is just absolutely fine. It's pretty much back to full HP. Light's just walking through without any care in the world. And now Breathe is looking on a wrap, and AL, they've been caught.
Oh no, and Shanks could be the first target to fall. Weibo trying to press for their advantage. Good Glacial Fissure will stall Weibo on their pursuit. Hope cannot save the mid-tier 2 turret from falling as Weibo now trying to find another angle. Elder has spawned. That is what they're trying to bait anyone's legend into. Breathe goes all out, brings one member forward. Tien turns out the lights with the paranoia. Hope steps up onto the front line. Flanger trying to create space with his own damage on the Smolder as well. Chris almost brought low enough with the execute threshold, but not enough to die as the rest of Weibo don't find another man outside of Kael. Tarzan jumps into Xiaohu, forces the Cataclysm, flashes out. Shanks trying to send it, but no one can follow up. Flanger's being pinned by Breathe. They can't get the execute. Hope falls. Shanks next. Weibo will stand up to the might of anyone's legend. Not even Flandra's Smolder counterpick will save them this time. It's a full team ace, not a single member dropped from Weibo. They're about to knock out anyone's legend with a 2-1 and put themselves at 3-1 in the standings.
And 6 feet deep go AL. Weibo Gaming claw back from the victory that they desired so desperately versus top. They find it against AL and beat the reigning champions.
These were some of the best highlights from today's matchup. Which moment was your favorite? Let me know in the comment section below. This is OP, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.